Okay, this is a quick tutorial on how to use squarespool.com to run your Super Bowl Squares pool online. Makes it a lot more fun. Okay, first you go to squarespool.com and we'll just start with the simple creating a new one. So give it a name. I'm just going to call this Fred's Pool. Now, this is important, the player initial password. This is how all your players get into the game. So make it simple. These are not secure passwords. Don't use your bank password or something. It's just a simple password that'll let your players get in. So I'll call it Fred. And then you need a game runner password. Again, don't be using your bank passwords. These are not case sensitive either. Uh, for me, I'm just going to say it's me. So this is your email that your players can ask you questions or whatever. Then you need a page name. So it's going to be like http://squarespool.com/ and then yourpoolname.htm. That'll be the URL to get to your pool. So I'll just call it Fred's Pool. I hope that's not already used. Then this is just to calculate, um, you know, how much it costs to get a square. As far as money goes, we don't handle money. That's all up to you. Um, this just gives people an idea. So let's say it's $10 a square. So you'd have 10 times 10, you'd have 100 or $1,000. And then you need your payouts. Now this depends here on whether you're going to have a payout for every quarter or you're going to have a payout, just one payout. And that kind of relates down to how many numbers. But let's say you're going to have four numbers on the squares pool, so you're going to have four payouts. So I'm not going to do the math. So let's say it's 300, 200, 100, 500. Okay, that doesn't add up, but this should really say final score, not quarter four, because that might be different, but that's just how it is. So I'm doing it with four numbers. Now, if you did one number, a lot of people like this. I don't know why, because you've got one number on the top and one number on the side. That means you only get one winner. Or you could still give them a payout each quarter, but they don't get to have four different sets of numbers. So if you've got an 8 and a 2, you have no chance. With four numbers, at least you have a chance. So I'll do it with four, but you can do it with one. So usually you set these up before you know who the winner is. I mean who's going to be in the Super Bowl. So we'll just say AFC, NFC. Now here you can just say anything you want. You could put some rules in here. Alex, I was doing this before. I said pick all your squares before February 7th. You know, use Venmo at such and such a place or whatever. And a lot of these are charities for softball teams or whatever. So you can put whatever information you want in there. Down here, if you check this, they have to enter an email when they sign in. You probably should do that so you know who's who basically. You can validate emails, which they'll send them in a validation email that says, click this to validate your email. It doesn't really do anything, so it's up to you. The idea was you could say you can't you can't pick a square until your email is validated, but I never programmed that in, so it doesn't really do anything. So you could uncheck that or check it, doesn't really matter. And this check just says, okay, can we send you a message if there's some sort of problem going on? And you could also allow occasional promotional emails, which I hardly ever do and probably aren't going to do anymore. But we might say, hey, we got this new website or something, but you're not going to get like a message every day or something. Anyway, create the pool. Oh, shoot. Fred's pool already exists, so let's call it Andy's pool. I make the initial password Andy. Okay, created it. Ah, I forgot to change the page name to Andy's pool, but doesn't matter. So here's my page. So if this is going to be the URL. So if you click that URL, you're going to Andy's pool, even though the page name is Fred's pool. Can I change that? Modify pool. So my password is it's me. Nope, there's no way. I think in the Pro version you might be able to change it, but you can't change it. But these are like you could just if you make a mistake, just let it sit there and make a new one. You can make as many of these as you want. Anyway, so here's how your new player is going to pick a square. So you told him the new player password was Andy. He already knows that. So he makes up his own name. Say it's the dude. A lot of people some people accidentally type their email address in here and then they want to change it and it's hard to change. But it's better to tell them just make up a name. If you don't want anybody to know your real name, just make up something. And we know the initial password is Andy. So now I got to give it my um, my own password so I can sign back in again. So I'm just going to call it dude. It can't be your username. And by the way, these are not case sensitive. Again, these are not secure things, so don't use your bank password. I'm just going to say dude. And we told them to they have to enter their email address. And they have the same thing here where you could allow messages from different reasons. So you do that, and then now I can go pick a square. So picking it now, notice here you got 4 numbers on the top and the left. So here I can pick a square. I could pick more than one. And there, maybe I want to do 3. Now I gotta send Andy $30. And this here is just what if. So your players can have fun when the Super Bowl's going on. They can say, "Oh, what if they get a safety and then they do an onside kick? I could still win." So anyway, I picked my squares, and I'll just show you. That's the what if. Oh, I didn't generate the numbers yet, so this doesn't do anything until you get the numbers. So the next thing is generating the numbers, and here's the key thing is once you generate the numbers, nobody can pick a square anymore. Because if you had the numbers first, it wouldn't be fair because everybody, the first guy on would go, okay, I'm going to take 3, I'm going to take 7 and 0. So it wouldn't be fair. Everybody has to pick the squares. Then you find out what the numbers are. So you can't do this till everybody's done picking squares. So here I'm going to generate the numbers. And my game runner password was it's me. And when I hit this, it's going to give me a warning. No, once I do this, nobody else can pick squares. So you wouldn't normally do it with just 3 squares picked. Now, if you did have some empty squares, you just have to make up some kind of rule. If an empty square wins, then that goes back into the pot or whatever. But most people, they get all 100 squares picked. So now we got random numbers. So now you could say, okay, what if the score was 16? Let's say the first quarter, it was 11. This is never going to happen. 11-3. Oh, okay. Do it the other way. 3-11, because I guess the left side is for the left side. Oh, if it was 3-11, I would win. So your players can do this. The Super Bowl is going on, and they could go, oh man, if he just goes for a safety, I could win. I actually had that happen once. Okay, so that is basically pretty much all there's to it. I'll show you a few other things. Now, if you're the game runner, let's say some guy says, "Oh man, I put my name in wrong." So what you can do is it says delete picks, but it's really delete a square. So you're the game runner. Now I have to put my game runner password. It's me. And I could go, okay, he didn't really want this. So I hit, are you sure you want to delete this square? Okay, now this is a bad time. You can't change it once the numbers are there, you can't change. It's too late now. But if the numbers weren't there, this would have let me delete that square. I could get a lot more complicated. I think that's enough to get you started on this. And you can email me. I usually answer and help people that can't figure it out. But most questions go to your game runner. So if you need to delete a square or something, you have to send that to your game runner. I can't do it. I'm not going to mess with anybody else's pool. But I could help with just like how do you sign on or whatever. So that is about it.